everybody.
How professional is that?
Love it.
This is like
How,
show business.
how often does a webinar have an intro musical theme?
Indeed. So a very good evening, everybody. Welcome, welcome. My name's Chris Barrow, and you'll be delighted to know that I'll be leaving you very soon in the capable hands of Eva. Just a few very quick housekeeping points. We are more than happy to take questions at any stage during this series of webinars that we're going to be putting forward. You can either type your questions into the chat box on Zoom, or maybe even just unmute and talk to us. It would be lovely to hear from anybody who's got any questions as well. And can I also confirm that we are recording this session, and that actually a link to those recordings will be out probably in about the next 12 hours. Everybody who's registered will be able to get a link, and they will be able to review and watch again or share with any other significant people that might be interested. So without further ado, I'm going to get myself well out of the way, and I'm going to introduce you to your proper host. Please give it up for Eva Grayzel. There you are. Thank you, Eva.
Thank you very much. Do we have some clapping sound, some musical background there of clapping? Yes. Hi, everybody. My name's Eva Grayzel. I am a 26-year survivor of stage 4 tongue cancer. And over these episodes that are going to take place once a month on a Monday for only 20 minutes, we are really hoping to address what you are interested in. And this is not just for survivors. This is for caregivers. It's for healthcare professionals, dental professionals, anybody who is touched by oral cancer in some way. So today I'm just going to introduce myself so that you know the kinds of questions that you may want to ask me in particular. And by the way, get that in the chat as soon as the questions come to mind so we can address them. But for my surgery, I had a third of my tongue reconstructed from my arm and my leg. I had a radical neck dissection, which means they took the entire sternocleidomastoid muscle on the one side, because lymph nodes cling to that muscle. And in my case, the whole muscle had to be removed. I had 40 lymph nodes taken out of my neck, and 3 had cancer, which is what diagnosed me at stage 4. I was very fortunate. They left the tip of my tongue intact. This is what enables me to articulate my speech. But speech wasn't that easy in the beginning. And many of you may be struggling with your speech. I had, I had speech therapy, which is the same as speech pathology or speech hygiene. There are all kinds of names for it. But I learned how to pronounce those R's and those L's and those S's after I had my surgery. And you could hear what a difference therapy can do for you. I've also dealt with xerostomia, which is dry mouth. And that's something that all kinds of cancer survivors struggle with. There are lots of products on the market, so don't give up trying. I love to drink water because I don't drink enough of it anyway. So when my mouth feels dry, I try to drink a lot of water. And at night, my trick is that I have a hydration backpack attached to my nightstand, like hanging on the knobs of my nightstand. And the hose comes under one of the pillows behind my head. And during the night, if my mouth feels dry, I don't even open my eyes. I don't knock over a glass of water, none of that business anymore. I just grab that hose, I suck some water, put the hose back and go right back to sleep without even opening my eyes. Now, over the years, I have had laryngectomy scopes. Why? Because over the years, I've triggered hoarseness, vocal polyps and nodules. And I want you to know that that it's not a painful thing. You can handle it. Don't be afraid of it. And they stick a camera in there and they look at your vocal cords. And in my case, due to radiation, one side is all stretched out and you can see it on the camera. In fact, if you want to see a video of a laryngoscopy, go on my YouTube or I'll put a link in the chat next time. Anyway, you can see how radiation impacted my vocal cords, and doing things with my voice can trigger hoarseness for months. So one of the things I try to do is just this: keep my voice up higher. Every time I lower my voice and get into what they call the basement, I could trigger that moment where I do something and my voice is shot. Now, I've also had myofascial therapy. I highly recommend it. After surgery, my head hung to the left. All the surgery was done on this side, and I couldn't straighten my head. This myofascial therapist not only worked in releasing the scar adhesions in my neck, but she worked inside my mouth. And to this day, I continue to do these intraoral massages. And that's when, literally, with this hand, I'll go inside my mouth with my thumb, I'll pull out my cheek. With my finger, I'll massage the gum on this side and this finger on this side. I really have come up with a routine for massaging my mouth. And maybe one day, if you're interested, I'll go wash my hands and we can do it all together on a Zoom. That would be fun. But what it does is it stimulates all the blood supply. And after radiation, the blood supply is minimized. And there are times when my tongue feels stiff and I literally just take a shower and massage my tongue like that. And it stimulates that blood supply and I feel looser. It feels better. Now, I have had dental implants in my radiated bone 7 years after radiation. I have had hyperbaric oxygen. I had a whole series, actually 3 times now, for various dental complications. But one of those times was before I had my implants. And that's something that we can talk about: hyperbaric oxygen as well as implants in radiated bone. The other thing I'd love for you to know about me is that I have worked really hard to help dental professionals educate their patients. I don't know about you, but I am hard pressed to find any education about oral cancer when I go to a dental hygienist or a dental practice. I want to see posters, just like I see in the gynecology office and the dermatology office. I want to see posters that educate me about what oral cancer is. What are the signs and symptoms? What are my dental professionals looking for when they do an oral cancer screening? And what is an oral cancer screening? One of the other things that we can talk about is dental specialties. I want you to know there is a dental oncologist, somebody who has additional years, 3 additional years in studying how to treat patients who have had cancer. There are oral pathologists, head and neck pathologists, and they have 3 additional years in reading tissue that comes from the oral cavity. But most of our tissue is read by a general pathologist. Don't ask me why, okay? Has to do with insurance, and I'm not sure what happens in the UK, but I have to tell you, it's disappointing that if there's a specialist, my tissue isn't going there. There are oral medicine experts. These are doctors that have had additional years in studying how issues that develop in the mouth are actually other diseases like immune disorders that manifest in the mouth. So there are all kinds of specialties, including dental implants. You know, the dental implants are really for either oral surgeons or prosthodontists. But now you're getting general dentists who are doing it. So you need to make sure that when you need dental work, you are going to the right dental professional for you, and make sure they have experience in what you actually need. Another topic that I'd like to talk about, if anybody is interested, is in organizing the support network. When you're sick or when somebody you know is sick, how could you help in organizing the support network so they get the best care possible and that you are helping? Maybe you're just friends with the caregiver. Well, there are so many things you can do for the caregiver to help them be in the best place to support the survivor. Hope. Hope is different for everybody. Don't assume that hope is surviving and living lots of years. Hope is different for different people. So be sure that you don't assume what friends and family going through cancer are experiencing. And are there any questions in the chat, Elizabeth, Chris, Rachel, that we can talk about?
Karen's put a question in the chat to you.
Do I fatigue? I see it now. And do I slur when I'm tired? Yes. Yes, I do slur sometimes when I'm tired. Or if I've had a drink, like a glass of wine, which I do. I do celebrate with wine every once in a while. As far as fatigue, yes, there's no doubt that I get serious fatigue when I trigger something in my neck. Being that this neck muscle does all the work for me, there are times when I do something. I don't know if it's in the car. Sometimes it's literally reaching for something, and then suddenly I get a headache. It goes into my neck, and I get intense fatigue. And Karen, I would say that nobody is going to take care of you like you. So when you're feeling fatigued, listen to your body and rest, even if it's for 5 or 10 minutes. Close your eyes and rest. And that you need to do self-care because nobody else is going to do that for you. You have to do it for yourself. Okay, and let's talk about support networks just a little bit more. I remember the best thing that somebody did for me was when people called and said, "What can I do for you?" I found that was really unhelpful because when I said, "Oh, can you pick my kid up from preschool today at 3 o'clock?" They're like, "Oh, I can't do it today, but maybe on a Friday." And I thought, I don't have the energy to organize the support network. So what I decided, what my friend did for me is she said, when people call you and ask that open-ended question, have them call me. And I told her everything I needed, what we liked for meals, that I need help with laundry and putting toys away, that I need some help with driving, and everybody's needs are different. Some people have elderly parents they need to take care of, or a business to help run in some way. So identify what their needs are and then see if this friend could get people who want to help, who don't know what to do, because a lot of people want to help and they just don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. I always recommend asking yes, no questions. Like, I'm making chicken for dinner tonight. Can I make you some? I'm taking the kids to the park. Can I take yours? And this way I could say yes or no, and you could handle the rejection. Let's see, what else? What else would you like to hear about? I'd like to say that cancer is not a character flaw. I sort of think that cancer, my body had cancer. I didn't have cancer. I don't change. I am still me. And I think that when people understand that, it's easier for them to talk to you and ask you the questions that they're curious about. Are there any, we always like to open up these webinars at the end for questions. Does anybody have any thoughts they'd like me to address? And if not, I would sort of like to conclude these 20 minutes of tips to survive and thrive is to talk about what I've learned from going through stage 4 oral cancer. I would say that it's not about the length of your life. I've known people who have died very young, and their life has left a legacy that has lived on. So it's about the breadth of your life. And during the time that you've got, you have a choice to make a difference. You can choose to moan and complain, or you can choose to find something meaningful to make a difference. And that difference could be as little as showing your friends and family who know you and love you how to choose gratitude, how to choose life and living, how to choose positivity. I believe these are all choices, and surviving is an attitude. And with that message, our 20 minutes is up in 3 minutes. I will conclude with a little story and our closing music. And the story is about a young man who gave up his life to save someone else. And when he went to the world beyond, he was asked whether he wanted to reside in the place up above or the place down below. And this young guy said, hey, I want to see both places before I make my decision. And first he went down below, and there he saw this big pot of sweet smelling, bubbling soup in the center of the space, and people were sitting all around. Everyone had this long handled spoon long enough to reach the soup. But when he looked at the people, they were sick, pale, just miserable. Then he went up above. Surprisingly enough, he saw the exact same thing. A big pot of sweet smelling, bubbling soup. People were sitting all around with a long handled spoon long enough to reach the nutritious soup. But up above, the people were smiling, they were full, they were robust. The young man wondered why the difference when both places have the exact same thing. Down below, the people were trying to feed themselves. The handles of the spoons were so long that by the time they got the soup could never reach their own mouths. Up above, he noticed the people didn't even try to feed themselves. They only fed each other. And when this young man was given a choice whether he wanted to choose up above or down below, where do you think he chose? The original version of this story says he chose to live up above because he deserves to be in a good place. But I believe he chose down below because there he could make a difference. And everybody on this call today can make a profound difference in other people's lives. And maybe if we can go forward with this attitude of choosing, that we can leave a legacy of choosing courage and gratitude and moments to cherish, we can turn adversity into opportunity. Thank you all for joining today. And before I leave, I want to introduce to you the foundation CEO, Elizabeth Laverick. She's on the call. And the Mouth Cancer Foundation is sponsoring this monthly webinar. Chris Barrow has volunteered to help moderate and do this call with us. So thank you all for joining. I hope that you share with your friends and your healthcare professionals about this monthly webinar, because together, it's not so scary. Together, we can empower one another to get through, endure treatment, and live on to live meaningful lives.
Thank you, Eva. And we don't have any music. I feel as if I should burst into song, but I'm sure you wouldn't want me to. But I am going to say huge thank you, Eva, of course. And to those who have joined us this evening, thank you for taking the time out. And also for anybody who may listen to the recording of this. As mentioned, the recording link will be out with you very, very soon indeed, so that you can revisit this material and perhaps even share it with other people that you think will benefit from listening to Eva's message. Please tell your friends. And also make a note in your diary, Monday, the 2nd of December. We're going to be doing this every month. Monday, the 2nd of December at the same time. Obviously, we will drop you a line just to remind you of that and send you the appropriate information to register. We will have to ask you to register for each of the webinars. That's the right thing to do because we can't have people's confidential information flying around all over the place. So watch out, 6 o'clock, Monday, the 2nd of December. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Eva. Thank you to all of you, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Stay safe and well, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
Goodbye.